Hey guys, welcome to part one of the talent system or skill points tree, whatever you guys want to call it. So in this tutorial I'm going to be teaching you guys how to create some type of talent system where as you level up you get points and then you're able to spend those points on specific areas. Now usually talents increase different abilities and how much damage they do or how fast you can attack or use those abilities, and they also increase different stats depending on what type of game it is. If we're referring to something like World of Warcraft, as you level up, each of your different skill trees or talents um, that you can upgrade will upgrade a specific ability. So it'll make an ability do 35% more damage, or make chance to critical strike increase by 10%, or something like that. So we're going to be setting up a system kind of like that. It's going to tie into our RPG combat system, so we'll end up adding more stats to that, and we'll be able to spend talent points and upgrade those abilities. So we're just going to get started by creating the scripts that we're going to need, and we're going to be using two scripts. So we'll name this one our talent system. And then we need another script, and this will actually be our class that we're going to be using. So if you guys haven't created classes before, you can go over some of my previous tutorials or just watch this one. Classes are pretty much something that we can use into an array if we're going to be specifying a bunch of different objects. And I guess it's not really something you can understand right now until I start showing you how it works, but we'll go over all the steps. So we're going to be creating a class called skills for that. So we're just going to double click skills, and then we'll bring that up. And we also want to bring up our talent system. So for now, for our talent system, we just want to create a variable, and we'll call this skill points, and we'll make that an int. And in here, we're going to want to create a class because this is going to be our skills class. We'll just name this class, and you want to name it the same that you named your JavaScript file. So we'll name this skills. Close it off like that. And here's where we're going to be specifying all our different variables for our skills class. So our first one will be skill name, and this will be a string, variable skill description. And this is what we're going to be writing what the description is for our actual skill that we're going to be upgrading. So like I said before, if it increases critical strike, you're going to want to put that in the description for it. And this will also be a string. And I got to fix these real quick. Next variable we're going to create is skill icon. And this will be of type texture 2D. Now for this, we're going to be creating buttons for each of our skills, and we're going to want to have some kind of specific icon for each of them. You could just use text if you wanted, but I like putting icons for mine. And then we'll create a variable skill point required, and that will be an int. So this is checking how many skill points it takes to upgrade this. And then for this, we'll put skill used, and we'll make this of type boolean. So this will specify if we've used the skill or not. So if we have, then our next skill is able to be unlocked. So when we're going through each of our skills, each of our GUI buttons for our skills, we're going to be checking the previous GUI button that's listed below it, and check to see if it unlocked or not. So we can simply do by doing that by checking the skill name, or we could create some kind of ID system to check which one is which. But for now, we're just going to be checking the array for the different lists. Since we're not going to be creating a list itself, we're just going to be using an array. We can check the previous one, and we can check if it's been used or not, and specify if we're able to upgrade the next ability. And I'll explain all that in the future. All you want to do is save that out, And now we want to go in here and create a variable, and we could do a capital S for skills, and we can make this uptype skills, and control S, or let's see, forgot to do that. That's to specify that it's an array, and we can add stuff to it. So just save that out, and all of it should be working fine. Now all we want to do is we want to throw our talent system somewhere. I recommend the main camera probably, or on your player, or wherever you feel like adding it. So we'll go into scripts, and let's see here, talent system. And now in here we have our skill points, we have our skills, and we can actually add to this. So let's say we had 5 different skills. So each of these elements are going to be blank for now, and you can drop it down and add each one in here. And so skill name, we'll just call it crit increase. And skill description increases critical strike chance by 10%. And skill icon, we don't have that yet. I'll probably create some for the next tutorial. Points required, let's just say for this one it requires 1 point. So if you're level 1 and you have some kind of skill point available, you could use that. Or we can make it so it requires something like, 4 skill points, and you have to hit, level 3 or 4 to be able to unlock this. And in future tutorials, we're going to be laying out, or I guess the next tutorial, we're going to be laying out each of the different skills. So there'll be different trees. So I'm going to set it up in a 3-tree tier, and there'll be different abilities that branch off from there. So I'll be teaching you guys how to add points into each one. And now that I think about it, I know we have a skill points required, but we also probably want to have a skill points added, now that I think about it, because we're going to want to be adding to these different skills. So we're going to be wanting to, I guess if you're doing a single player RPG, you can save this in player preferences, and it'll keep all this information in there. Since we're not transferring it over to list, all this will stay the same as long as you save it. But for this is the maximum amount of skill points that is required. So now that we have that set up, hopefully it'll reload. Okay, so 4 is the max we want, and all these need to be always set to 0. Because when we go and we click on the icon, we want to ++ to this. And once this equals to that, then we can grant the skill, or call a function that adds the critical strike chance to our stats, or something like that. But I'll be covering that in the next tutorials, and this is just the one to get you guys started on setting that up. So yeah, guys, stay tuned for the future tutorials.